Good evening once again, everyone, and thanks for staying with us. I'm Liz Bishop. He was once one of the most powerful men in New York's government. Today, he's been convicted on federal corruption charges. Sheldon Silver found guilty. The verdict read just about an hour and a half ago. Capitol reporter Kimberly Howard has been following this story for us. She joins us now from Manhattan to fill us in on what happened in the court and what happens now. Kimberly?
Hi, Liz. Well, you know, this verdict came down just about an hour and a half ago, and here we are outside of the federal courthouse in New York City. Still no sign of Sheldon Silver. We are expecting him, hopefully, to walk down those steps, give some sort of statement with his attorneys. In the meantime, take a look at this. A swarm of media, dozens of reporters here waiting for that statement, what they will say. We can only expect that they're going to announce some sort of appeal after this conviction. But as you mentioned, guilty, 7 counts. We're talking about mail and wire fraud. We're talking about extortion and money laundering. And all of these are in relation to 2 separate schemes, one of them involving a mesothelioma doctor, the other involving 2 real estate developers. This is a case that has been going on for a month now. This is actually the beginning of the 5th week in this case, and there's been no shortage of drama. There's been issues with several jurors, including one juror earlier today, a taxi driver, who indicated that he wasn't sure if he could go forward with this case as far as deliberating this case. He was concerned about his job. He was told over the long holiday weekend that perhaps the owner of the medallion for his taxi cab had some sort of relationship with Sheldon Silver. The judge told that juror, as well as another juror last week who wanted out, that they had to continue deliberating, that they had to come to a verdict, and that's exactly what they did just after 4 o'clock. I was in the courtroom just a couple of rows behind Sheldon Silver when they were reading those verdicts one by one. Guilty, guilty, guilty on all 7 of those counts. He really didn't show much emotion other than I did notice him kind of tapping his finger slightly on the desk as they were reading those verdicts. He also afterward kind of smiled at his attorneys, so definitely wasn't seemed saddened or upset. Quite the contrary, actually. Liz?
Kimberly, we know pretty much, I mean, we expect that there will be an appeal, but how about his assembly seat? I mean, he has to forfeit that now.
Yeah, that's right, and that's an assembly seat that he has held for more than 40 years, for almost 40 years. Rather, when he was arrested last year, of course, eventually he had to give up his seat as far as being the speaker, his post rather, and then he continued to hold that seat and said that he would be vindicated. Now that this conviction has come down, that's something that he can no longer hold on to. And in addition to prison time that he could be facing, he also is most certainly going to be giving up his assembly seats. Liz?
I'm guessing there's other ways out of that courthouse. Do you have pretty good idea that he is going to come and talk to reporters? I mean, that he will want to address this?
Yeah, you know, there is another door. We know that some jurors actually right now behind me are walking out right now. They have been told by the judge, these jurors, I just want to show you, they've been told by the judge not to speak to the media. The judge had this whole speech, obviously, that jury deliberations are secret, that they should remain secret, and that those aren't the first jurors that we've seen come out. We saw juror number 11, who I mentioned earlier, come out, also did not speak to the media. So didn't mean to digress, but I wanted to mention that as those jurors were walking out there behind me. But yes, there is another door out of this courthouse over on the side. We've spoken with some reporters who've run up briefly just to see if he was in fact still in the courthouse, and it's our understanding that he is. So at this point we are waiting for him to come down the steps because we are expecting an announcement of some sort of appeal. We would imagine that he would want to talk to the press, make some sort of a statement, but again at this point no sign of him. It's been about an hour and a half since that verdict has come down. We'll throw it back to you, Les. We are live in Manhattan. Kimberly Howard, CBS 6 News.
All right, Kimberly, we'll cut right back to you if he does come out and decides to talk. And reaction to the verdict pouring in from all over the state tonight. We want to get more of that reaction from a local attorney who has been following the case. And we're joined now by Paul Darahaneshan. Paul in Albany for us. Paul, thanks so much for being with us. First of all, react to the verdict.
Well, I don't think it's actually shocking, even though many people who looked at this case, for example, law professors, some reporters thought it wasn't particularly strong. What people fail to perceive, and sometimes elected officials, is how broad the law is in the net. You don't have to have an explicit agreement. The doctor in this case, Dr. Taub, said, oh, no, there was no explicit agreement. Well, the law says, look, any perceived appearance that there may be something that the elected official is going to do is enough as opportunities arise. So it's a broad law, and let me tell you, if anybody has a negative image walking into the courtroom, it's probably an elected official in New York State, and I think that's the other thing that doesn't make me shocked that he would be convicted. Third, look at the millions of dollars. When jurors see millions of dollars going to an elected official and there doesn't appear to be any work done for that money, that looks bad. That can be circumstantial evidence of guilt.
What about the appeal? What do you think here? I mean, it seems pro forma in a case like this almost.
I think he does have to appeal here. Now, one of the big battles that took place had to do with the law with respect to quid pro quo, bribery, kickback. The defense didn't get much of what it wanted. That could be an area of appeal. He may have to be concerned about how many millions of dollars he's going to be losing. That could be a possible area of appeal. So I think he has to file an appeal. But remember, one of the problems he has is with so many counts of convictions, it's hard to run the table on all those.